everyone. Welcome back to the Mindful Play. Today we have Louise Shanagher, and she is a child's therapist, a mindfulness teacher, and psychology lecturer. She provides creative and well-being workshops, mindfulness classes, as well as online and class training. She's the author of 3 books, the Mindfully Me series, which is Ireland's first series of mindfulness books for children. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. So I'm really curious. You've got some amazing resources that you're going to share with us today. I'm curious to know how you began teaching mindfulness to children.
Okay, well, I guess it started with my own journey with mindfulness, and that was maybe well over 10 years ago now, and I was just practicing myself, and I just found it so helpful for me, and it really made such a difference to my own life at the time. And I was working with teenagers and children, and I just felt that it was something that I felt that children should really know about, or they should really be introduced to. And I just felt really passionately about that, and it was what I wanted to do. So then I started my own classes, and gradually they increased, and I had more and more classes. And then I wrote the books, the Mindfully Me series, and I started doing training, and I have three new books actually coming out, and a curriculum coming out here in Ireland actually in the autumn. So yeah, so it kind of just evolved, but it evolved from my own experience, so and from the benefits that mindfulness and also self-compassion practice had for me in my own life. And then I felt like, yeah, this is something that children really need to be introduced to. I just felt that was something really important. Yeah.
So beautiful. I can completely resonate with you and absolutely love looking at, the resources which you'll share with us here in a little bit. But what is a creative mindfulness? You can speak a little bit
Okay.
about that. Yeah.
So that's really my own approach that I suppose I've come up with while teaching mindfulness to children. And it would be because I'm trained as a play therapist as well. But I was always like really, really creative. And even when I was a child, I was like always making things and very creative. So I suppose I would brought together the two then, my two passions in a way, mindfulness and then creativity. And what I felt was that when working with children, when they're actually making things and when they're creating things, it really helps them engage deeper with the practice and helps them understand what it is on an experiential level, because for children, we don't want to be too conceptual. And I suppose mindfulness, we're talking about the mind and thoughts and feelings. And like that's great for an adult or even maybe a teenager. But I think for a little child, especially like a preschool age child, they need to experience something to understand it. So it needs to be something tangible. So I found kind of making things with the children and creativity and stories and even like games and different things like that really help children engage with mindfulness and have a direct experience of it. And there's so many other benefits as well, but I suppose that was the main idea behind the creative mindfulness approach, I suppose.
That
Yeah.
is so beautiful. And it's interesting that you say you can incorporate it into the things that you're already doing, right? Where it's that flow and that the children can express themselves through the practice, if it's through creative expression or if it's through art or if it's through dance or play. So I really,
Yeah.
really love that concept. How important is personal practice during all of this?
Okay, so I know people vary in their opinions, but for me, I feel like it's the foundation to everything really. So now a lot of my work is in teacher training. So I train people to be creative mindfulness practitioners, and they're always surprised when they do the course how much they thought they were doing something for the kids, but they feel actually this is for me. They go on that journey themselves. I feel it needs to be the foundation, because when we can think about it like, teaching someone to drive a car. So if we didn't know how to drive a car ourselves, or we just read books about driving cars, we couldn't be a really good teacher, to someone else, or even like it could be like playing a musical instrument. Like if we just maybe played a musical instrument a few times and then we went out saying, I'm going to teach this, how I just really feel like with mindfulness, it needs to be something that we experience, and not just experience a few times, but actually that we live, and actually becomes a way of being for ourselves. And the more we do this, then the more of the experiential understanding we have. So we understand it kind of from a heart place, not so much from a head place. Both are important. Like, we do need to understand the research and the theory, but it's more and more, I think, much more important to experience it from an embodied way, and actually then to embody mindfulness when you and self-compassion and compassion for others when you're around the children. So they're learning then by your presence, and they're learning by how you are, not necessarily what you say.
Yeah.
So in a way, like, when people say, or parents would say, how can I bring more mindfulness to my children? Really what I say is just, go on that journey yourself and start bringing it into your own life, because children are just learning from our presence. So I feel like that's, for me, it's the foundation, and it's wonderful then, because everything can become a practice. Like, every moment of your life, the ups and downs and the in-betweens, and every time we're working with kids, it's all practice. So as we're teaching, we're practicing, and we're going deeper on that journey ourselves all the time. So I think it's a really beautiful thing. But yeah, I feel like it's really important. Yeah.
When you can see the smile on my face when you're talking, and
Yeah.
hearing your message is a true reflection of my personal journey. And I went through some
Okay.
burnout as a caregiver, and it wasn't until I started
Yeah.
to not be shameful of my own mindful practices and allow myself to understand why it was helping me, and then incorporating it into my practice. And I have this tagline I like to say, regulate while you educate, because
Yeah.
it's this universal flow of healing, but also the self-compassion, the self-love. And as we're teaching it, and it's
Mm.
this flow of energy, we are also connecting with ourselves, right? So, parents,
Yeah.
caregivers, educators, however they can incorporate, like you're mentioning, it's
Mm.
so beautiful. And you have such a simple way of explaining it. So I wanted to
Okay.
share that.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you share with us
Yeah.
some creative mindful practices that you have for children?
Yeah, so I'll just show you a few just little practices that I have. I have loads, hundreds and hundreds. So again, they're all quite tangible, and they focus on children engaging in the process and then having something to bring home with them. So one that I do, you probably really know this one quite well, but like something like, the mind jar, and I won't go into all of them, but you probably be familiar with them. So that's really, really good. But something maybe a bit different would be something like breathing book, so they can make a little breathing book. And then this is just a little scrapbook. And then we can put in the different types of breathing. So like maybe hot chocolate breathing. And so I like to use this it's called like playing attention. And this idea of like fun, playful breathing practices. And you can call them mini mindfulness moments. So as you say, we bring them, incorporate them throughout the whole day. So it's not just something that we do, for once a week. It's something that we can do all throughout the day. So breathing in, smelling my hot chocolate, breathing out, cool it down. So the children love that one. So they can draw in, you can draw in the hot chocolate, or they can stick in pictures. They can make their own little book. And we have butterfly breathing here. And I can demonstrate these if you want. I don't know, do you know these breathing techniques? Do you
You know
know?
what? I've heard of some of them, but yeah, I would love you to demonstrate. And when you do them, I just naturally join in. 'Cause
Oh, that's
that's just
okay.
what I do. So we can play.
Yeah, so butterfly breathing, and actually I've made little animations on YouTube to go with these breathing mini mindfulness. So if you look on my YouTube, you'll see them, and kids can practice along. So butterfly breathing is breathing in, lift up your butterfly wings, and breathing out. Flap your butterfly wings, breathing in. Stretch your butterfly wings, breathing out. Flap your butterfly wings. So little kids really love them. So you can do that with them, and then they can stick in their butterfly or draw in their butterfly. You know, rainbow breathe. And so have you seen that one before, where they breathe in and out the colours? So you start and you go through the colours of the rainbow. So you can put the hands out wide, breathing in red, breathing out red, breathing in orange, breathing out orange. So you can go through the whole, all the colours of the rainbow. Yeah. And again, these are good for the younger, you know, preschool, but younger children tend to really like these. And just balloon breathe into the balloon there, and that's just the hands on the belly. And imagine you have a balloon in your belly and it's your favourite colour, and breathing in, filling up that balloon with air. And breathing out, letting all the air go. So then they can do that, you know. And these, again, I would say to do them, you know, throughout the day, regularly throughout the day. And I won't keep going because I know you want me to show you a few things. But, you know, we have candle breath here, cake breathing. So they can make their little breathing book. They can bring it home. And then whoever's at home can, like, you know, go through it with them, or maybe they can have it in their little calm corner. So I find the creative activities, they're kind of serve as an anchor. So children can bring something home, they can engage with it, it's meaningful for them because they made it. It's something that the parents can engage with too, and they can put all their little bits in their calm corner. So I find things like that work really well. And, like, you know, they can make their own little calm kit, something like this, and decorate their box with their little their calm kit here. And again, they can put in their little pictures or their shapes to show the different types of breathing. So we have our butterfly, our balloon, but then there can be all sorts of things, like maybe something like a little what do we have here, like materials, of things they can touch. So again, helping children connect to the senses. What can I touch? What can I smell? What can I taste? What can I see? What can I hear? Like making little lavender bags. They just put little lavenders in a little bag, and then breathing in, smell the lavender, and breathing out.
So I love that they create their
Yeah,
resources.
yeah, so
Right? And
they're
then
creating themselves, yeah, and then it becomes very meaningful for them. So even like the flower breath, they can even make their own little flower, breathing in, smell the flower, breathing out, blow the petals. And I have little kind of YouTube videos to go with these as well. Like they can do their little mindful stone, they can decorate their stone. So what does the stone look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like in my hands? How does it feel when I roll it in my hands? And can I close my eyes and take 3 deep breaths, breathing in and out? So it's like a nice grounding tool as well, because it's something outside of them, and that helps kind of with anxiety as well. You know, they can have their like little items from nature, their little acorns, or their little, we call them conkers here, their little breathing shapes of the star. So tracing the shape, breathing in and breathing out. So they can put all that in a little calm kit. So that's one thing. And then I'll just show you another little one.
I feel like
we have like
come over and play one day. It's just like so many great resources.
Yeah, I have hundreds and hundreds of these. I only just took out a few for you just to show you, but like a little breathing buddy. So they like make that out of a little sock. They put rice in there. They can put like a little like essential oil, like maybe lavender. You know, whoever's doing it can help them with that. They divide it, and then they have their little face. They can give their breathing buddy a name. They put their breathing buddy on the belly, and then they breathe in and out and see the breathing buddy moving. And so that's a nice one that they can do as well. You know, they can make the shapes as well, just, you know, maybe star breathing, decorate them, cut them out. I usually divide, you know, the way I teach mindfulness to children and how I train people into 3 sections. So the first section is, you know, awareness practices. So that's, you know, these ones would reflect awareness practices, connecting to the breath, connecting to the senses. And then I'd look at like mindfulness of feelings. and how to relate to our feelings with mindfulness and kindness. And then I'd look at kind of self-compassion and self-kindness. So I've got a couple of other activities for the other two areas. Would you like to see
I
them?
would
Or
love to see them.
okay,
Absolutely.
grand, okay. So so one thing I think is a really my rug is falling down on me. This happens sometimes. Like just really simple, just the everything belongs heart. And so the idea is that whatever we feel in our heart is okay, and there's no bad or wrong feelings to feel. Sometimes you might need some help with our feelings, but what we feel is okay. So then they can draw and color or write or decorate in their everything belongs heart. And there's lots of different ways of doing it. You know, they can do it with, you know, these, like for older kids, like little plaques, or they can make like little wheels, and there's loads of ways of teaching that lesson. And you can do the heart house. So this idea of the heart house, and then inside our heart house we have our feelings. So and what I do is I encourage children to give the feelings a name. So when they name the feelings, they kind of can externalize them, and then they can befriend them. So it's a sense of befriending the feelings. So we might have sad Sally, and that's just decorating some rocks. And we might have worried Walter. We might have happy Henry, angry Andy. So they can make all their own little feelings, and they can do them in their own way, however way they want to decorate them. You can do them as like little puppets as well. Or I have my little cards here. They can make their little cards, and then they decorate their little heart house, and then they can show what feeling is coming to visit. So maybe it's sad Sally is coming to visit. So they're able to show, and then parents and teachers can engage with the heart house. And then I bring children through 4 steps of how to relate to their feelings when they come to visit. So I do this with some kind of feeling beads. So again, it makes it quite tangible, so children can really feel and touch and engage. And this one is actually after coming off, but the first one is take 3 breaths. That's the first thing we do. The second one is who's visiting now, and how do I feel in my body? So we label the feeling and we recognize how it feels in the body. The third one then, be kind. So we be kind to our feeling, we be kind to our hearts. So we might put our hand on our hearts and say, it's okay that I feel this way. This feeling is just visiting me. I am just right. We might hold our feeling in our hands, and we be kind to the feeling. I'm your friend. I'll take care of you. Worried Walter, it's okay that you're here. And then the last step is we talk about it, and we put up our hands and we think of 5 people we can tell are worried too. So someone in the house we live in, someone in a house we visit, someone, a friend, someone in school, and someone else. And they can do art around that, drawing the heart, drawing the hand and talking about it. And then, like, I've loads and loads of activities around feelings, but I just want to show you then one about self-compassion and kindness, because that's something I'm really, really passionate about for both my own practice and also for teaching children. And for everybody, I feel it's so important. And this idea of being a friend to ourselves. So I get children to imagine the kindest, most lovely, most wisest, most loving friend they can imagine, and I get them to make it. And they can design it, and then I give them a little bag, and then in the little bag we think about what would the friend say. So what would the friend say to us? So it might be, you are important, or maybe it could be an action. It could be take 3 breaths, or it could be talk about your feelings. And for little kids, you can do this with pictures. So then they can go to their inner friend when they're having a bad day, and they can see, what does my inner friend think I should do today? You know, so it's this idea of developing an inner friend and not feeding the inner critic, you know, because the inner critic is so strong for us all. So the idea is that from day one, we're teaching children to actually have this inner voice of kindness and friendship and gentleness towards themselves, and also towards others as well. And we can talk about our cup of sunshine, and how can we fill up our own cup of sunshine. So it might be you know, doing our breathing, it might be saying kind things to myself, it might be things like eating well, and how can we fill up other people's cups of sunshine. So, and we might have our Medi Teddy, and we might say, well, how can we fill up Medi Teddy's cup of sunshine? And then we can draw or colour in the things that would fill up Meddy's Teddy's cup of sunshine, and also what might empty Meddy Teddy's cup of sunshine. And when we're talking about kindness and compassion, we always want to help children connect to how that actually feels in the body. So it's always really important to help them connect to that felt bodily experience. And I just don't have them around me now, but I use little pictures. So I'd say, when I fill up my cup of sunshine, I feel a sunshine in my belly and my heart feels warm. And when I do my breathing, I feel light in my head and I feel maybe calm in my heart, and I've little pictures to show. So really helping children getting in touch with that felt bodily experience. So I won't talk anymore because I know we've limited time, but that's what I do. So it's basically, teaching children these tools but through the creative activities, and I find that really helps them gain that kind of experiential sense of what this really is rather than something conceptual. Does that make sense?
So amazing.
Okay.
And when you're talking about this creative mindfulness, my wheels are just turning because it allows the children to be a part of the creation process. And when we talk about emergent planning and all of the good things,
Yeah.
them taking part in creating these resources that they can use
Mhm.
home. And then, like you mentioned, the parents are like,
And the
oh,
parents.
shoot, it's that conversational piece, and the parents are able to connect with the children. And a lot of the times when we talk about, mindful practices or the creative expression, it really comes back to that connection piece, right? So everything that you're talking about, and the compassion and the kindness and the caring and all of that, it's beautiful. And I get so excited because the world definitely needs more of this work. So can you talk a little bit about the training that you do offer and what that looks like and what's coming up?
Yeah, so what I do now is and over the last few years I've started training people in this method, and then this kind of started evolving, and then I had the in-person training, and now it's online, so anybody in the world can do it, and it's fully accredited, international accreditation, and it trains you to be a creative mindfulness practitioner. So it's training you, I suppose, in how to share mindfulness, and there's a big focus on kindness and compassion, heart-based practices as well, through this creative method as well, and also through like discussion and stories and child-friendly fun way. So it's a really fun way of teaching children mindfulness and compassion, but there's also a really strong focus on your own practice. So that's a really big part of it. So you're kind of brought on a journey yourself in terms of your own practice, and particularly also, again, I always talk about the two wings of the bird. We need two wings when we're practicing and when we're teaching awareness, and I suppose that practice of being in the moment and being present, and also kindness and compassion and love. So it's about cultivating these two wings for ourselves and also for the children. So so I teach this in my my training, and it's completely online, and we have I think I have a couple of people from Canada actually on it. So yeah, if anybody is interested, they can get in touch, and
Absolutely.
we've
We'll
weekly
post
live webinars as well. Yeah,
we'll post all the links below on
yeah,
below the
that's
video here so
fine.
everybody can find. And you
Yeah,
also have the Mindful Me series. So for
yeah,
those of you that have listened all the way through this great interview, we're doing a giveaway. So the Mindful Me series introduces mindfulness and self-compassion practices for children ages 4 to 8. So we're going to be doing a draw, and how to enter in the draw is we're going to post the email below, but you would send an email off to mindfulplaysummit@gmail.com with the code word mindfully me, and we will be doing a draw for our live guests that are watching today. And unfortunately, it won't be available on the replay, but for those that are watching today that can put their information in, we will draw for that. And is there any last things that you want to leave with our listeners today?
yeah. So the one thing I'd say, again, I think the biggest thing, I think sometimes we're always looking for an extra activity or an extra resource, or this extra reading or whatever. I'd say just keep coming back to yourself, because you're the resource. And what children are looking for is the one thing they want from the adults around them is those two wings. They want our presence or our beingness, and they want our kindness and compassion. And sometimes we get caught in trying to do this activity and that, and buying them things or trying to fix whatever it is. But if we can come back and bring these practices into our own lives, we'll embody them. And it's like they kind of flow out from us, and children then just feel that. And that is what children are looking for. So it's the simplest thing, really, but sometimes it's difficult. And I suppose what we need to do is go on that inner journey ourselves. And I feel like that's the best possible thing we can do for the children around us, whether it's our own children or the children who we're teaching, or, you know, however, in whatever context we work with children. So that's what I'd like to say.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Louise. It's
Okay.
been a very great conversation and a pleasure to chat with you today.
Okay. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you.